Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day or evening, no matter where you are in this beautiful world we live in. I want to say thank you. We're at 19,500 subscribers. We're closing in on 20,000. I'm really excited. Once I hit 20,000, I got a big announcement coming for the channel. And also want to remind you guys, you can join right now. You can become a member to the channel for just 99 cents a month. And also remind you that starting January 1st, 2023, the MVP, VIP, and Pro versions of the membership will be going away, and those perks are going to drop to the just 99-cent eBuzz Central member. It's a great way to support the channel and a great way to support content you like. And on that note, I would also like to say that I'm going to start out 2023 with a new look. I hope you guys liked and enjoyed the new intro. And we've got a new logo for the channel and everything across our social media. Thank you guys so much. I want to do everything I can to make this channel better for you and bring you as much important content and information as possible. Now, what I want to touch base on today, I am going to look at a distribution I haven't looked at in a while. Or let me put it this way, I'm going to look at a distribution with a desktop that I haven't looked at in a while. Generally, when we talk about GNOME, everybody is either a love it or hate it type person. They either love GNOME or they just flat out hate it. Point blank, period. But those who do love GNOME generally come back and say the people that do it best, or the distribution that does the best with GNOME, is Manjaro. So what we're going to look at today is Manjaro GNOME. It's a brand new release. It just come out within this week. And I wanted to go over their website real quick. It's manjaro.org. I'll be sure to include that in the link below. And Manjaro is a great open source operating system, other than some of the issues they might have with dealing with their community, some of the issues they might have with the AUR when they hold packages back. There are many things I can say about it. As a matter of fact, I've discussed it quite extensively on this channel, so I'm not going to get into that with this video. But when you come to their website, when you first get here, if you looked at this website right off the bat and didn't know what Manjaro was, you would think they were selling computers. And I understand they've got to make money, but I still think the OS should be front and center here, but it's not. That's kind of my ding on it. Do any task in Manjaro, and then your software, shells, Surfshark, and then of course SoftMaker Office. I'm not even going to get into that. Let us handle your OS integration partner with us. It just seems to me they're kind of going down that Ubuntu road that Ubuntu went about 8-10 years ago. So, but I'm not going to get into that. If you come over here and you want to download Manjaro, you just go up here, click download. It's going to give you the option of ARM or x86. Go ahead and click on that. And then over here, you can get their official images, which is KDE Plasma, XFC Desktop, and of course GNOME. And then you can also go visit GNOME's website if you want to, or XFCE's or Plasma's. And then down here, you've got the community versions, Budgie, Cinnamon, i3, Docker, Mate, Sway, Window Manager. Now, I've already downloaded this, so I'm going to go back to the home. And I haven't even booted into it yet. I wanted to kind of take a look at it right off the bat with everybody else, as opposed to me going through it. I wanted to see what it would be like if you're just now downloading it and you wanted to take a peek at it, what that was going to be like. So let's stop talking and let's get on over to the desktop. And when you first boot into it, whether you're on a USB, whether you're in a virtual machine, this is kind of the screen you're going to be looking at. Now, if you've got an NVIDIA graphics card, you definitely want to come down here to go to proprietary software, boot it with that. But I'm not going to today. I'm going open source because I have an AMD processor and an AMD video card. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Then you're going to see all that good information pop up. They have a new splash screen. I didn't recognize that on the last one I looked at. Interesting. So let's let that thing boot up. And there you go. It's popped right up. And there's the Manjaro. There's Manjaro GNOME. This is Manjaro Hello. And if you look up there, it says Sakaris 22.0. So this is the newest release. I truly love these welcome screens. In every Linux distribution that has them, I love them. For the simple fact, it's a good way for people to get started right off the bat. Now, what I do want to see is this comes in a dark mode. If we switch it over to a light mode, okay, the background changes. So you got that green. I really like this wallpaper. I'm going to take a look at the KDE version probably next week. I really hope they got rid of that old and dated green mountain. But that's not anything we need to talk about in this video, so we'll stay here. But this is your welcome screen, or your Manjaro Hello as they call it. And this right here just says thank you for joining the community. It's got a README, release info, wiki. You got your forums, software, mailing list, and then of course you can launch the installer. get involved, development, donate, and then of course you can come down here and pick a language that you want. So that makes it real easy. If you don't live in America or if you don't speak English, you can switch right over and get to going. That's not a problem at all. And then of course their Telegram, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Now, if you want to, right here, you can launch at start. If you want to shut that off, it won't pop up anymore when you restart your system after install. But you can always go find it if you want to. You come down here and you just go up and type hello. And there's your Manjaro hello. You can click on that and it will open up. So it's always there and it's available for you to take a look at. And what I'm going to do right now is we're just going to go ahead and close out of this. And as you can see, it looks as though they might have some extensions already working out of the box, because they've got dash to dock, because generally you have to hit the activities button to get the dock to show up, but it's already showing up. So they've obviously got some extensions going. So what I want to do real quick is I want to verify what kernel we're on. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go Manjaro settings. And there is Manjaro settings right there. And let's find the kernel. And we are presently running 6.1.1-1. Now, this is the Manjaro kernel. This isn't the Arch kernel or just the plain Linux kernel. Manjaro has their own custom kernel that they use on their distributions. The reason I call it a distribution and not an Arch spin is because Manjaro has their own kernel. They went and made changes to it, and they're utilizing it. So, Manjaro is a standalone. Yes, it does have a base of Arch, but it's using its own kernel, so it's its own thing. So, but that's good to know. I think the other one was running 5.15, so they've updated, and you've got a pretty new kernel running on this one. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And as you can see, we're in GNOME 43. If you come up here, you've got your nice little menu up here now. I love the look of this. You've got power, lock. You can also go to settings from here or take a screenshot, and then you have control of your volume right here. Now, one thing I do like is in the past, you didn't have this little arrow over here. You would have to go into settings and adjust this. But you can click on that little arrow now, and it's got your analog output. You can switch to whatever you're using right here in this menu, and it saves you a step of having to go over into settings. And then, of course, it's going to show wired because I'm in a virtual machine. Night light is on. I want to go ahead and shut that off because I don't really need that. And then, of course, your dark mode is right here. And if you come up here, it's going to let you know that there's 2 updates available. And then, of course, your package manager's right here. Let's go ahead and click on that. And let's go over here. Here's your date. Date and time right here. You can select a weather location down here if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and select a city. I'm going to say Dallas, Texas. Well, wait, I got to back it up. Let's go with Dallas Love Field. And that'll be our weather right there. So now, if I close out of this, if I go back over here, my weather will show right here in my notification box. I really do love how far GNOME has come. They really made it, how can I say it, more simpler to use or easier to get around in. Easier to get around in. I do recommend that if you are using GNOME, though, that you do get the dash to dock extension. It just makes things a lot easier. My personal opinion, if you disagree with me, hey, let me know in the comments below. And then, of course, you can come up here and click on Activities, and it'll bring up your different desktops. Or you can click on your super key, and it'll bring it up as well. So that'll either be your Windows key on your Windows laptop or keyboard, Command key on Apple, and also if you've got something like a Tuxedo, that would be your Tux key. So let's go back down here. You've got Firefox out of the box. Of course you should, because that's what you want on here. You want something that isn't Chrome-based, but if you want Chrome, you can zip on over and get it. It's no big deal. Then you've got your file manager. Let's go ahead and open that up. And I really love the things that they're doing with file manager. And with GNOME, you get updated things now that you can actually do right inside the file manager that had been taken out, but now they've brought them back. You can do everything from cut, copy, move to, rename, create, leak, compress, email, move to trash, open as admin, open in terminal, properties. And then, of course, over here, you've got base settings, show hidden files, preferences, keyboards and shortcuts, help, about files. I love the overall look of it. I love that they went with a little bit more subdued green than they used to have. I really like that. You've got your usual suspects over here. And then, of course, you got your home folders right here. Let's go ahead and close out of that. And then down here, you got gedit, you got terminal. Let's go ahead and open up terminal and see what kind of resources we're using. I'm going to see if they have htop. And they do. Let's go ahead and make that a little bigger so you can see it. And right now, with just the terminal open, I've got 8 gigabytes issued to this machine. We're using about 989 megabytes. Typical, my Garuda usually runs somewhere between 850 megs and a gig. Right here, you're running about 989. That's to be expected. Also, what you got to understand is once you install this system, it'll run lighter for the simple fact that right now, even in this virtual machine, I have some more RAM being used just by the operating system running in that virtual environment. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And then come back down. You've got your add and remove software. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Right here is where you're going to add and remove your software. This is where you're going to get the applications that you want to use. Now, you can come over here, right here where you got the 3 dots, go to Preferences, and go to Third Party. You can enable Flatpaks and enable the AUR. Now, I'm going to say this. I say this with every Manjaro video that I do. Be careful using the AUR. I had probably a 70% success rate with it when I was on Manjaro. But what you got to understand is Manjaro holds things back. They hold specific packages back. They hold kernel versions back. And when you're downloading something from the AUR, it relies on the newest kernel and the newest set of packages for it to work. So you might have some conflicts there, missing dependencies, or you might have something that just crashes and doesn't work at all. So if you decide to use the AUR, just keep that in mind. Another thing here, what you want to do is after you set this up, before you download anything, you want to come over here, go to General. Let me go back so you know where I'm at. Right here, the 3 dots, click on it. Preferences, General, scroll down. Use mirrors from. I have set this to the United States, and it runs slow. I have set it to Canada, and it runs slow. When I leave it on worldwide and refresh my mirrors, it runs the fastest. I'm just letting you know. When it says worldwide, what it's going to do is it's going to reset all the mirrors for you. It takes just a hair longer. Not too much, just a hair longer. But when you go to download something, it's going to go to the quickest mirror that it got when it refreshed them. And I recommend refreshing them about every week. So that way, when you do get updates or you are downloading applications, you have the freshest mirrors there and the closest or fastest mirrors that are going to work for you. And I'm going to close out of that. And like I said, this is where you're going to download different applications. Let's say you were looking for something like GIMP. You could go type GIMP in. But because I have not refreshed the PayMac or the Pacman, because it's not installed, it's not going to show me any of that. But once you install it, or you use it in a virtual machine and install it, all of that will refresh, and you can just go up here and do the searches for the applications that you want. Let's go ahead and close out of that. And then down here, you've got Install Manjaro Linux. This is just going to be your Calamares installer, and it does look like it has a little updated look to it. Now, this goes pretty easy. This is, if you've installed Linux of any type, it's going to ask you for your location, your keyboard, partitions. I usually just set them automatically. If I'm on a laptop, I will include hibernation. Users, where you put in your name, password, all that good stuff. Then a summary, then it installs, and then finish will restart your machine. So it does have the Calamares installer, and it does have an updated look. So that's pretty nice looking. Now, let's close out of that, and let's go over here and open this up. You've got Geary Mail, and we've got icon browser fragments, weather, logs, tweaks. If you're wanting to make different changes to GNOME that doesn't come with GNOME 43, you're going to come over here. You can change things like appearance, fonts, keyboard and mouse, startup applications, top bar. You can change the way it looks. You can add a weekday to your calendar if you want to. And then you can add seconds to the clock. That's just up to you. And then, of course, if you wanted to add week numbers into this calendar, you just click on that right there and then come over to calendar, and it'll have your week numbers over here to the left. Just a couple of different things you can change. Toggle to maximize, you can double click on that and it'll maximize, double click, it'll bring it back down. No middle click. If you don't want your minimize and maximize buttons up there, you can get rid of those and just have an X button. It's really up to you. You just figure out where you want it. If you want your buttons on the left, you can move them over to the left. It gives you a lot of different ways to customize it, obviously. Let's close out of that. Let's open this back up. You've got dynamic wallpaper. You've got games. I'm not going to go through those. Gradients, G-thumb, layouts. Now, if you want to change the layout. Now, a couple years ago, Manjaro did GNOME, and they had the dock over here. Some people like that. Some people don't. I don't believe they offer that anymore, but you do have just a regular GNOME where this would disappear. You've got the material shell. You could bring that up. You've got the traditional GNOME where it gives you, let's open that up and apply, gives you just your regular bottom bar. And if you look up top, that bar is gone. So if you want to go with a traditional GNOME, they give it to you. You can open that up and use it from right there. I think it's great, honestly. You can adjust it and have it pretty much any way you want it. When you think about Manjaro and the way they utilize GNOME, when I'm making these changes in virtual machine, a lot of other distributions that I do this with hang up, lock up, but Manjaro seems to take these changes in stride. So that's one thing I will give to them. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. We will go back down here. You've got your video app, Cheese, web app, system tools. You got your settings right here. Let's go ahead and open up settings. And one of the reasons I want to open up settings is I want to go to the bottom and look at about. And device name is Manjaro GNOME. Memory 7.8, AMD Ryzen 9. Rolling release 64-bit. GNOME version 43.2. And the windowing system is X11. And then Oracle, and then software updates. And then, of course, you've got all of your different settings you can change up here. And I'm not going to go through all of these because I'm pretty sure that everybody out there are familiar with these settings. If you're not, if you just get into them and move around them a little bit and play around with them a little bit, you can pretty much customize this distribution or customize this desktop any way you want. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. Let's come back down here. You've got web app integration. You can come up here and integrate a web app if you want to. If you're not familiar with these, let's go ahead and add one. Let's go ahead and name it. Let's go ahead and do YouTube. And we'll make YouTube a web app. And we'll go to the address, which should be https://www.youtube.com. And it'll automatically bring an icon up. It doesn't always do that, but because YouTube is a known website, it'll automatically bring that up for you. And if you want to, you just click OK, close. Now, if you go over here and do a search for YouTube, it'll pop up right there. And what you can do is pin it to the dash. Okay, now it's pinned down here on your dock. Close that. Now, when you click on YouTube, it's going to open it up in a Firefox instance, but it's not going to have an address bar or anything like that. It's going to deliver it to you a lot like a web wrap, something like that. But there you go, right there. You can come over here. You could do a search for your favorite YouTube channel, which is eBuzz Central. And eBuzz Central would pop up right there. And then it's right there. And then if you wanted to play that video, we could just play that video. And as you can see, it'll drop down here. You can click play, and it'll play it for you. So I'm going to close that, close the player, and then we're going to close that YouTube application. That's just a quick way you can turn a website into a web app. Linux Mint's had it for a while, but I think it's pretty awesome that Manjaro's included it in here. So let's pop this back open. System tools we already looked at. You've got firewall, you've got time shift right here. If you want to go in and make a backup of your system real quick, if you're using BTRFS or rsync, make sure that if you do use the BTRFS file system that you got this checked. And then once you get done, you'd click next, and it'll just take a snapshot of your system. You come over here, you could create, and it would create a snapshot right here. So that way, should you run into any major problems and the system just break, you can zip back in a live mode, open up time shift, refresh from that snapshot that you've saved, and keep right on going. Now, I do recommend that if you do make a snapshot of your system, make sure you do it after you have all of your applications that you're going to use installed and everything customized the exact way you want it, and then take that snapshot. So that way, when you refresh from that snapshot, everything is exactly the way you want it, and you don't have to spend a bunch of time going back and recreating it. So let's go ahead and close out of that. Let's come back up here, and I think system tools, you got toolbox, GNOME boxes, if you want to run virtual machines, is already preloaded. And then you've got document scan, snapper, GUI, lollipop, and then of course Office. You've got your OnlyOffice desktop editor. If you open that up, it's a beautiful Office suite. Now it does need to go to a dark mode in my personal opinion. So let's go down here, interface theme. Let's go ahead and go to dark. And there you go. Now I don't know why. I've always run into this sometimes on different versions of OnlyOffice, but it's had same as the system, and it was still coming up white. So for some reason, let's see something here. If I go to light mode and then switch back to dark mode, see, it doesn't It doesn't respect it for some reason. I don't know. So you'd have to manually come over here and apply it to the dark. And then there you go. Then you've got document, spreadsheet, presentation, and form templates. I got a 10 video series going to start the beginning of January on OnlyOffice. It's going to be great. It's going to show you how to use everything in OnlyOffice and really kiss Microsoft Office goodbye. So keep your eyes open for that. And then we will come back down here. And I do believe that's pretty much it. Manjaro, Gnome 43. What do y'all think? Do they do Gnome better than anybody else? Are you somebody that's using Gnome right now that would disagree? Please, whatever you might have to say about this video, drop that in the comments below. Do me a favor before you leave today. Please like the channel. Likes keep me in YouTube's algorithm, which means if you found the information in this video helpful, somebody else out there might as well. And subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. And if you end up not liking me, you can always unsubscribe. You also can become a member right here on YouTube for just 99 cents a month. But that's not all. We are also on Utreon, which you can become a member on at $2.99 a month, or Odyssey, which is $4 a month. You can also buy us a cup of coffee, maybe zip on over to PayPal and throw us a donation, or go over to Patreon and become a patron to the channel. All those links will be in the description below. As always, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next video.